What's up, everybody? Welcome back into Phancast. It is Coy here. Days after a tough stretch for the Phillies against the Arizona Diamondbacks, gave up 13 combined homers in that game. Tough stretch ahead. Had a couple losing streaks, winning streak in between. We're going to get to it all here, but just want to welcome myself back to the show. I've been out for a couple weeks. Want to start off by thanking everyone up above for letting me have the time I needed, and looking forward to get back going with everyone here, bringing you guys great content for the next rest of the season. It's been a tough stretch for the Phils, looking to turn things around, and also would like to start off horrible situation down in the Dominican Republic with someone I'm a huge fan of back in his playing days, David Ortiz, Big Papi. Have gotten to meet him. He's a great guy, and just a tragic thing what happened down there. Wishing him a speedy and full recovery. Great to hear that he is doing well. Everything seems to be going smoothly. Red Sox sent a plane, picking him up, bringing him back to America. Very classy, great job by them. Touching moment last night before the game. So I just wanted to start off tonight by offering our thoughts and prayers from everyone here at the network to David, his family, and everyone involved in the situation. Hate to see stuff like that, especially to such a great guy. And interesting world of sports right now. A lot of you probably watching Game 5 last night, Warriors-Raptors. As a diehard Sixers fan as well as the Phillies, hate to have to pull for the Warriors, but don't want to see the Toronto Raptors, who tragically upset the Sixers, be able to pull it through. But let's switch into some Phillies baseball, and I'm going to take you back to the beginning of the season. Phillies had made a boatload of moves. Most money spent this offseason. Brought in a bunch of different players, flipped the roster. The Sixers we saw last season, they ended the process. Huge pieces of the quote-unquote process. Dario Saric, Robert Covington, traded them away. They said we're going all in right now. Brought in Jimmy Butler, brought in Tobias Harris. They were going all in for a win right now. And that's what it looked like the Phillies were doing. Traded J.P. Crawford. Traded Sixto Sanchez. Traded away chips of the future to bring in stars right now. And it looked like that was going to be a successful move for the Phillies. On paper, this looked like one of the best teams in baseball. You had a former Cy Young winner, guy who finished top 3 in Cy Young voting last year. Traded for the best catcher in baseball. Brought in a all-star shortstop. Former MVP outfielder Andrew McCutchen. While we all knew he was back into the later back end of his career, we still expected Kutch to produce, and he did, until his untimely injury that likely will have him out for all of this year, hopefully not too far into next year. Obviously brought in Bryce Harper, MVP caliber player, perennial all-star, one of the most electrifying players in baseball, most entertaining guy to watch, arguably. Bring that into a crew that already had players like Rhys Hoskins, very good young player looking to hit the peak of his career. Future prospects and potential all-stars like Scott Kingery, guys we expected to produce like Cesar Hernandez, Maikel Franco. It all seems like on paper this was going to be a team that could compete to not only make the playoffs, but to potentially be NL contenders to win the pennant and maybe get a World Series berth. Yet right now they sit at 37-29, just 8 games over 500, tied for first place with the Atlanta Braves. A team that's biggest move was signing Josh Donaldson, whose most amazing moment of the season came when he got in a fight because someone hit his jersey. A team that made no moves all off-season, just signed Dallas Keuchel, did very little, brought back in veteran catcher Brian McCann. A team that did very little to nothing, and they're still competing with the Phillies, who spent all this money, all these assets to bring in players, and the team's just underperforming. In a rotation with Aaron Nola and Jake Arrieta, your best pitcher is Zach Eflin, someone who I did say I expected to be the breakout pitcher. I was him over Nick Pivetta. But he should not be your best pitcher. This should be a 3 guy at best. 6-5, 2.88 ERA, 2 complete games, by far the Phillies' best pitcher. Aaron Nola, our guy who went 3rd in NL Cy Young voting last year, had a great season. After all the years of struggling, all the faith that the Phillies fans kept in him, He finally broke out. We thought, this is it. This is our guy. He's going to bring us to the promised land. He's 6-1, great record. His ERA is over 4.50. He can't get out of a game without giving up 3 to 4 runs each time. Every time it looks like he's finding his way back, as it did against the Padres, going into the 6th inning, only giving up 1 run through 5 innings, looks like he's back in Nola form, and he gets rocked. And balls are flying out of the park, everything's going downhill, and the Phillies end up losing a series against a very lesser San Diego Padres team. To compete for the playoffs, this is a area the Phillies are in for the first time in 8 years. These have not been playoff contenders since 2011. 2012, everyone thought they would be. Terrible year, finished 500. This is the first time that they are seriously competing in almost a decade, and it looks like it. This is a team that's struggling to win series against lesser teams, a team that is drastically underperforming. This should be one of the best offenses in baseball. Gene Segura is an all-star shortstop. JT Realmuto is the best catcher in baseball. Bryce Harper should be batting more than 251, and if he's not, he should be able to hit more than 11 home runs. Bryce Harper is drastically underperforming, and I'm not ready to hop on it was a terrible decision. I think we are a better team with Bryce Harper than without him, just as I think we are a better team with Jake Arrieta as opposed to if we had not signed him. Both players, I think, made this team better, came in and made an impact. But they're not doing enough. Bryce Harper is not playing at the level that we paid him for. $330 million over 13 years. This should be the peak of his career. If at best we're getting 251 and a couple homers here and there, it'll be a return on investment for John Middleton, but it's going to be very bad for this team and post to winning. Rhys Hoskins playing good baseball, 271, 14 homers, 46 RBIs, was leading the league in walks. He's seeming to find his groove. Other homegrown talent, Scott Kingery, had a big night last night. 2 homers, batting .324 on the year. He's starting to figure it out. Everyone was hopping off of him last year when he was struggling. Baseball's a waiting game, and it seemed like early in the season we could wait long enough and these Phillies would be able to figure it out, put it together, but things aren't clicking yet. This shouldn't be a team that is struggling to win the pennant. My apologies, win the division. Dodgers are running away with it. The NL Central is a little closer because there's a lot better teams in there. Milwaukee, Chicago, both very good teams that I could see making it to the World Series. The Atlanta Braves aren't that kind of team. They have no pitching. Dallas Keuchel might be their best pitcher. He wasn't even on an MLB team until June, probably not going to pitch till July. He's pitching in single A in June. And that's what the Phillies are struggling to compete with. 2 teams in the division over 500. And the Phillies are tied for first. It wasn't what anyone, I think, expected to be struggling like this point in the year. And while opposed to the past couple years, this isn't struggling. This is just underperforming, underwhelming, not delivering on what we thought we would have. The Phillies are struggling to compete with top teams. They got swept by the Dodgers. Is that what's going to happen in October? We're going to go to the playoffs, get sent home in 3 games? They aren't playing like a top-tier team because they haven't established themselves as one yet. 4-6 over the last 10, lost 2 straight. Got a nice little stretch in there where we won 4. We lost 5 in a row before that. Wasn't exactly like we were beating up on good teams. We did manage to win that series against the Padres. I believe I misspoke earlier saying we lost it. Won the last 2 there. Took 2 of the 3 from Cincinnati, but that should have been a sweep. You get up early in that, bullpen can't hold on. Phillies bullpen, it's a situation where I think it does get hated on a little more than it should. The bullpen isn't as bad as a lot of people make it out to be. Hector Neris is a very good closer. I put him in a top 10 tier. I thought at the beginning of the year he would refine his stuff. I thought he was the guy we could have gone to. Didn't need Craig Kimbrell, essentially. Wouldn't have minded, I think, at the price he got. He wasn't that much. Still would have preferred Dallas Keuchel. Neris with 13 saves. ERA below 2. He's having a very solid season. But this is a team that sort of needs a lightning surge. They need something to get it clicking. Jay Bruce came in. He might have been that guy, even though things were starting to spiral down. Wasn't really sure what I thought of it when they brought him in. Wasn't sure if we had to eat too much of the contract, how that move would look. But he's playing great baseball, 346. Average since joining the squad, 5 homers, 12 RBIs, all in 12 games, or in 7 games. He's been the best player since he got here. Another guy who was one of our top players, Andrew McCutchen, now out for the year because of something so stupid by Gene Segura. Something like that is the reason why the Phillies are just tied for first and not running away with this division. Because you hit a pop-up to the infield, decide not to run it out, leave one of your teammates hanging, and now his Achilles is ruptured, ACL tear. I can't remember exactly what it was. My apologies. But you don't hustle that out, and now a guy's out for the season. It's just stuff like that that really, I speak for myself when I say that this team is painful, tough to root for, tough to watch when it's playing like this. I'm not sure if everyone agrees with my opinion. It's fine if you don't. I just think that this is a team that should be competing at a much higher level, should be playing a lot better baseball than it is, yet we're seeing them struggle, and we're seeing stupid things like Gene Segura not run out of pop-up, and now one of our best players, the guy who's probably the best free agent signing this offseason, in a year where we got David Robinson, hurt, Bryce Harper, underperforming, Andrew McCutchen, now hurt. All that stupid money really is going to waste with guys injured, hurt. Trades are looking all right. Gene Segura, outside of a selfish, stupid move of not running out that ball, he's playing very good baseball. Leads the Phillies an average 291. 6 homers, homered last night. He's playing good baseball, good defensively at shortstop. JT Realmuto, I've said it before, I think he is the best catcher in baseball. 273, 10 homers, 36 RBIs. Great defensively behind the dish. One of the fastest pop times in the league. Seems to have a good movement with his staff. Knows how to control guys. And my apologies. It's just that this has been a very frustrating team to watch. Because years before, last year when we were competing, it wasn't a team that we thought was really serious about playoff contention. We thought that the Jake Arrieta move was good, bringing in Carlos Santana. Carlos Santana, who last year couldn't hit a beach ball with a telephone pole. Now he's potentially an all-star in the AL. Whew. Bad luck, bad break for the Phillies there. You know, happy to see him succeeding elsewhere. He was a good leader, presence in the dugout for the Phillies. And so it is good to see that he's succeeding out there, even though he struggled with the team last year. Good for him. But now, years before that, the team had really struggled. We were in the rebuilding phase. We had just gotten 5 straight division titles, 2 World Series appearances, 1 championship. You can't win every year. We expected that to go through that rebuilding phase. We took what it was. It was painful to watch in the sense that it's not entertaining to watch bad baseball, but we knew what it was paying out for. Last year, it was fun to watch a team that wasn't where we thought they would be. We thought they'd be a little bit lower. They were overperforming, playing great baseball, competing in an open NL East in a year that the Nats underperformed. The Braves ended up being the team that pushed through. So last year I thought was more fun to watch, even though that last month and a half was awful, awful baseball. Just watching a team completely fall apart. It was dreadful to watch as a fan. But that first couple months of the season was very good. And now this, it's like that Phillies are still trying to sell off that excitement of, oh, we've got Bryce Harper, we've got JT Realmuto, we've got all these guys, we brought them all in. This was a great team on paper, but it's time to start getting it going on the field. Tied for the division with the Atlanta Braves isn't acceptable at this point in the season. Phillies missing the playoffs this year would be humiliating. It would be terrible. Even if they lose to the division right now, 2.5 games ahead if the season were to end today, but it's not. Still a lot of baseball to go.